1,000 Gifts. The Life-Changing Journey You Need. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. Narrated by Oliver Edwards. This morning is Christmas Eve in the U.S. A soft quietness blankets the world, as if even time is pausing to breathe. There's a magic in the air, a warmth that reminds us to gather close, to reflect, to cherish. It's a day steeped in tradition, filled with the anticipation of joy, and for me it's always been a day that calls for gratitude. It was on a Christmas Eve morning, much like this one, that the idea for 1,000 Gifts, the life-changing journey you need, was born. As I sat with a steaming cup of coffee, the scent of pine filling the room, I felt an overwhelming sense of thankfulness for the ordinary blessings in my life. The warmth of the mug in my hands, the laughter of loved ones in the next room, the soft glow of sunlight streaming through the window, all of it felt like grace, a quiet reminder that life's beauty is found in the simplest moments. In that moment I realized how often we overlook these gifts. We rush through our days, fixating on what's missing or what's next, and we miss the treasures that are right here, right now. I decided to change that. I began to count my blessings, not just mentally but intentionally by writing them down. The practice started small, 3 things a day. But as the list grew, so did I. Gratitude shifted my perspective. It turned the mundane into the meaningful, and the ordinary into the extraordinary. This book is an invitation to step into that practice. It's a guide to seeing the world through the lens of gratitude, to uncovering the gifts hidden in every corner of your life. Through stories, insights, and practical tools, you'll explore how gratitude can transform your mindset, deepen your relationships, and bring joy to even the hardest seasons. 1,000 Gifts is not about perfection. It's about presence. It's not about reaching a goal but embracing the journey. As you read, my hope is that you'll find yourself inspired to start your own list, one gift at a time. So on this Christmas Eve morning I invite you to pause. Take a breath. Look around. Your journey begins here. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Lens of Gratitude. What if the way we see the world determines the life we live? Could the difference between joy and despair lie not in what we have but in how we perceive it? Gratitude, so simple, so overlooked, might hold the key. Imagine peering through a fogged window on a rainy day. The world outside exists in vivid color, but all you see is a dull blur. Clean the glass, and suddenly the scene comes alive, sunlight breaking through clouds, droplets on leaves glinting like diamonds. Gratitude works much the same way. It wipes the lens of our perception, revealing beauty hidden in plain sight. But why is gratitude so transformative? The answer begins with the way our brains are wired. Studies show that focusing on blessings rewires our neural pathways, increasing resilience, contentment, and even physical health. Yet in our fast-paced, achievement-oriented society, we are conditioned to focus on what we lack. We chase the next milestone, convinced it holds the key to happiness, while the blessings of today go unnoticed. The fog of scarcity clouds our view. Consider Sarah, a working mother of 2, juggling a demanding career and household responsibilities. To her, life feels like an endless to-do list. Gratitude, she assumes, is a luxury for those with time to pause. Then, one day, at her wit's end, she sits down and writes a simple list: the laughter of her children, the smell of coffee in the morning, a warm hug from her spouse. As her pen moves, she feels a shift, a lightness, a clarity she hadn't experienced in months. The challenges of her life haven't disappeared, but they no longer define her reality. Gratitude has given her a new lens. This practice of naming blessings, though simple, is profoundly countercultural. For centuries, philosophers and spiritual leaders have extolled the virtue of gratitude, yet it often feels elusive in the modern world. Perhaps this is because gratitude requires intentionality. It asks us to slow down, to notice, to cherish. It is not passive, it is a discipline. Take a moment to consider your day. What small, overlooked gifts are waiting to be acknowledged? The warmth of sunlight on your skin. The sound of a bird's song. Even in difficult seasons, there is grace to be found. As the poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Gratitude doesn't ignore life's hardships, it transcends them, allowing us to find meaning and beauty amidst the chaos. This is not to suggest that gratitude is a cure-all. Life will still bring its share of pain and disappointment. But when we cultivate gratitude, we shift our focus from what is missing to what is present, from scarcity to abundance. We begin to see the extraordinary in the ordinary, the way light dances on water, the kindness of a stranger, the quiet comfort of a loved one's presence. As we close this chapter, consider the first step on your journey toward gratitude. Start with one moment, one gift, one breath. What might happen if you began to list your blessings, one by one? Let this be your invitation to clean the lens, to see the world anew, and to discover the beauty that has been there all along. Chapter 2. Scarcity versus abundance. The human brain is a paradoxical machine. It is capable of creating symphonies, solving complex equations, and imagining futures beyond our present realities. Yet, it is also wired for survival, a wiring that often traps us in a mindset of scarcity. We see what is lacking, what could go wrong, what might be taken from us. But what if this perspective isn't the whole truth? What if abundance has always been within reach, waiting for us to claim it? Scarcity thinking is like walking through life clutching an empty cup. Even when water flows freely around us, we focus on the absence within the cup. This mindset is not just psychological, it's physiological. Neuroscientists have found that our brains are more sensitive to negative stimuli than positive ones, a phenomenon known as negativity bias. This evolutionary trait once helped us survive predators and famine, but today it keeps us fixated on what we lack. And this simple practice has the power to rewire our brains, shifting our focus from scarcity to abundance. Research from psychologists at the University of California shows that gratitude activates the brain's reward centers, increasing feelings of contentment and reducing stress. The act of counting blessings doesn't just change our mood, it changes the very structure of our brains. Take, for example, Daniel, a corporate executive who seemed to have it all, a high-paying job, a luxurious home, a loving family. Yet, Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that he was always behind, that something essential was missing. At a friend's suggestion, he began writing down 3 things he was grateful for each day. At first, it felt forced. Sunshine, he wrote one day. Coffee the next. But as weeks turned into months, something shifted. Daniel started noticing the vibrant colors of autumn leaves, the warmth in his daughter's laughter, the way his wife's eyes lit up when she smiled. His life hadn't changed, but his experience of it had. The cup he once thought was empty now seemed overflowing. This isn't to deny that real challenges and limitations exist. Financial struggles, health issues, and personal losses can make abundance feel like a distant dream. But gratitude doesn't ask us to ignore these realities. Instead, it invites us to expand our perspective. Even in scarcity, there is something to be grateful for, a glimmer of hope, a lesson learned, a small kindness that brightens the day. Consider cultures that have thrived in environments of extreme scarcity. In communities with limited resources, gratitude often becomes a cornerstone of life. The Himba people of Namibia, for example, live in one of the harshest climates on earth, yet their cultural practices are rich with expressions of thankfulness. They see abundance not in material wealth but in relationships, traditions, and the land that sustains them. The shift from scarcity to abundance is not just a mental exercise, it is a radical act of hope. It challenges the notion that more is always better, reminding us that we already have enough. It opens our eyes to the gifts we might otherwise overlook, the steady rhythm of our heartbeat, the comfort of a friend's support, and the miracle of breath itself. As we prepare to explore the practical steps of counting our blessings in the next chapter, let's pause and reflect. What would abundance look like in your life? Not in the future, when goals are achieved or circumstances improve, but right now in this very moment. Can you name one gift that points to the fullness already present? Chapter 3. Small blessings, big transformations. It's easy to look for the extraordinary, the moments that take our breath away, the milestones that feel like triumphs. But what if the key to a life of abundance lies not in chasing grand experiences but in cherishing the seemingly insignificant? The beauty of gratitude is that it teaches us to find joy in the overlooked and the mundane, transforming the ordinary into the extraordinary. Imagine a droplet of water landing on a still pond. It seems inconsequential, barely noticeable. But as it touches the surface, ripples spread outward, affecting the entire pond. Small blessings are much the same. They create waves of transformation in our lives when we learn to notice them. Consider the story of Maria, a teacher balancing the chaos of managing a classroom with the demands of her own family. Her days felt like a relentless sprint from one responsibility to the next. Gratitude, to her, seemed like an indulgence she didn't have time for. Then, during a professional development seminar, a speaker challenged the audience to identify one small blessing each day. Reluctantly, Maria accepted. Her first entry in her gratitude journal was simple: the quiet sound of rain outside my window. She wrote it with little thought, assuming the exercise would fade into another forgotten task. But as the days passed, her list grew. The smile of a student who finally understood a lesson. The aroma of her favorite tea. The way her toddler's hand fit perfectly into hers. Each day, these small blessings began to shift her perspective. Her challenges didn't vanish, but her sense of heaviness lightened. She found herself pausing, noticing, savoring. What Maria discovered is supported by research. Small moments of gratitude compound over time. Dr. Robert Emmons, a leading researcher on gratitude, explains that noticing and appreciating the little things fosters a deeper sense of well-being. By focusing on small, positive moments, we train our brains to see life through a lens of abundance rather than scarcity. But why do small blessings hold such transformative power? It's because they anchor us in the present moment. The human mind tends to wander, to the regrets of yesterday, the worries of tomorrow, the ambitions of the future. Gratitude pulls us back to now. When we notice the way sunlight filters through a curtain or the first sip of coffee in the morning, we are reminded that life is happening here and now. This practice of appreciating small blessings also cultivates humility. When we recognize that the simple pleasures of life, like a kind word or a warm meal, are gifts, we're reminded of our interconnectedness. Gratitude becomes not just a personal practice but a communal one, connecting us to others and to something larger than ourselves. Even in moments of difficulty, small blessings can shine through. During the pandemic, many people found themselves confined to their homes, overwhelmed by uncertainty and fear. Yet, amidst the chaos, countless stories emerged of people finding solace in the simplest of things. A neighbor's wave, the rediscovery of an old hobby, the shared laughter during a family game night. Gratitude doesn't erase hardship, but it reframes it, offering us a way to navigate through it. As we transition into the next chapter, think about your own life. What small blessings might you be overlooking? Perhaps it's the steady rhythm of your breath, the warmth of a loved one's embrace, or the comfort of a familiar routine. Make a mental list, or better yet, write them down. Start small. Let one blessing lead to the next. Gratitude, like ripples on a pond, grows outward. One small blessing has the power to transform your perspective, your day, and eventually your life. Chapter 4. Gratitude in Chaos. Life rarely unfolds the way we expect. Storms come, plans crumble, and challenges seem to stretch beyond our limits. In these moments, gratitude feels counterintuitive. How can we be thankful in the midst of chaos? Yet it is precisely during these turbulent times that gratitude becomes most transformative, anchoring us when everything else feels uncertain. Picture a storm-tossed ship. The waves rage and the wind howls, threatening to capsize the vessel. Amid the turmoil, the anchor holds firm, preventing the ship from drifting into the abyss. Gratitude serves as that anchor, rooting us to the present and reminding us of the gifts that persist, even in adversity. Take Emily, for example, a nurse on the front lines of a global pandemic. Her days were filled with relentless demands, long hours, emotional exhaustion, and the weight of witnessing loss. Gratitude seemed like an impossible luxury. But one evening, after a particularly grueling shift, Emily found herself pausing outside the hospital, staring at the sunset. The sky was a blaze of orange and gold, and for a brief moment, the chaos faded. She whispered a simple thank you for the beauty of that sky. It wasn't a solution to her struggles, but it was a moment of peace, a reminder that even in hardship, beauty could be found. Emily's story reflects a powerful truth. Gratitude doesn't erase pain, but it creates space for hope. It shifts our focus from what is wrong to what remains right. This isn't about ignoring difficulties, it's about balancing them with the good. The warmth of a friend's support, the steady rhythm of your breath, or even the brief reprieve of laughter, these moments become lifelines in the storm. Gratitude in chaos is not passive, it's an active choice. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and renowned psychiatrist, wrote about finding meaning in the darkest of circumstances. He described gratitude as a defiant act of hope, a way to claim agency even when control is lost. Frankl's insights resonate today as we face personal and collective challenges. Choosing gratitude is not about denying the storm, but about finding light within it. Psychologists call this process benefit finding, the ability to identify positive aspects within difficult experiences. Research shows that people who practice gratitude during hardships report greater emotional resilience and lower levels of stress. Gratitude becomes a tool for survival, a means to adapt and grow. Even nature illustrates this principle. Consider the lotus flower, which blooms in muddy waters. Its roots are anchored in the muck, yet it rises above, its petals untouched by the filth below. Gratitude allows us to be like the lotus, grounded in our challenges yet capable of rising above them. As we navigate life's storms, gratitude helps us hold on to what matters most. It reminds us of our strength, the people who stand beside us, and the beauty that persists despite the chaos. This doesn't mean the storm ceases, but it means we are better equipped to endure it. As we prepare to delve deeper into the discipline of naming blessings in the next chapter, take a moment to reflect. What anchors you during difficult times? What small moments of grace can you hold on to, even in the storm? Begin with one. Acknowledge it. Let it remind you that gratitude, even in chaos, is not only possible but powerful. Chapter 5. Counting the gifts. Gratitude is a powerful force, but its true magic lies in practice. Naming and counting our blessings is more than a feel-good exercise. It's a transformative discipline that changes how we experience life. But how do we begin? Where do we start when the world often feels too loud, too busy, or too overwhelming? Imagine building a staircase, each step carefully crafted and laid. This staircase leads to a new perspective, a higher vantage point where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Every step is a gift counted, a moment noticed, named, and cherished. The practice of counting blessings can be traced back to ancient traditions. In the Hebrew Bible, Psalms 103:2 says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits." Centuries later, this timeless wisdom has found validation in modern research. Studies reveal that people who regularly list their blessings experience greater emotional resilience, improved relationships, and even better physical health. Gratitude journaling isn't just therapeutic, it's transformational. Consider Jacob, an entrepreneur whose business was struggling during a recession. Overwhelmed by stress, he decided to start each morning by listing 5 things he was grateful for. At first, the list was repetitive: my family, my health, coffee. But as days turned into weeks, his perspective expanded. He began noticing the vibrant colors of sunrise, the support of his team, the resilience in his own heart. Slowly, gratitude shifted his focus from scarcity to abundance. His challenges remained, but his approach to them was different. Gratitude had become his anchor, his staircase to a renewed sense of purpose. But how do we make counting blessings a habit, especially in the face of distractions and challenges? The key is intentionality. Start small. Keep it simple. Begin with 3 things you're grateful for today. Write them down. Be specific. Instead of "I'm thankful for my family," try "I'm grateful for the way my daughter hugged me this morning." Instead of "I'm thankful for my health," try "I'm grateful for the strength in my legs that carried me on my walk." The more detailed your gratitude, the more profound its impact. Neuroscience explains why. Specificity engages the brain's reward system, deepening the emotional resonance of gratitude. Over time, this practice rewires your brain, training it to notice and amplify positive experiences. Gratitude also thrives on consistency. Just as a staircase requires regular effort to climb, gratitude requires commitment. Find a rhythm that works for you. Morning gratitude journaling can set the tone for the day, while evening reflections can bring peace before sleep. Some people prefer to speak their gratitude aloud during quiet moments, while others incorporate it into prayer or meditation. Yet, even with the best intentions, challenges arise. Life gets busy, and the practice of gratitude can feel like one more thing on a long to-do list. In these moments, remember that gratitude isn't about perfection, it's about presence. If you miss a day, start again. If your list feels forced, keep going. The discipline of counting blessings is less about what you write and more about what you notice. Over time, the habit becomes a way of seeing, a lens that transforms your world. As we close this chapter, take a moment to reflect on your own staircase of gratitude. What 3 gifts can you count today? Let this be the start of a habit that elevates your perspective, one step at a time. Chapter 6. The Power of Presence. Life is a constant rush. We wake up to alarms, hustle through our days, and collapse into bed, our minds still racing with tasks unfinished. In the whirlwind, we often miss the present moment, the only moment we truly have. Gratitude, however, offers a remedy. It anchors us, draws us back to the now, and reminds us to embrace the beauty unfolding in real time. To understand the power of presence, consider the wisdom of ancient traditions. Mindfulness, a practice rooted in Eastern philosophies, teaches us to live fully in the present. Similarly, indigenous cultures around the world emphasize gratitude rituals that celebrate the Earth's cycles, grounding their communities in the here and now. Across time and place, the message is clear: to truly live, we must truly be present. Yet, presence is not as simple as it sounds. Our modern lives are filled with distractions, notifications, deadlines, and endless to-do lists. These constant pulls keep our minds in the past or future, robbing us of the richness of the present. Gratitude interrupts this cycle. When we pause to notice and appreciate, we reclaim our attention and focus it on what is real, tangible, and immediate. Consider the story of Ravi, a software engineer whose workdays blurred into a haze of meetings and deadlines. Burnt out and disconnected, he began a small experiment. Every evening, he would sit on his balcony for 5 minutes and write down one thing he noticed. At first, his entries were simple observations. The sound of crickets, the breeze on my face. But over time, these moments became more profound. Ravi realized how much he had been missing, how the sunset painted the sky in new colors each night, how the leaves danced in the wind, and how the stars seemed to whisper of infinity. Gratitude became his bridge to presence, helping him rediscover the beauty in his daily life. Science backs this up. Neuroscientists have found that practicing gratitude activates the brain's prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for focus, planning, and decision-making. By shifting our attention to the present moment, gratitude reduces anxiety and increases our ability to engage meaningfully with the world around us. The connection between gratitude and presence is also evident in how we relate to others. When we practice gratitude, we listen more deeply, respond more thoughtfully, and build stronger relationships. A heartfelt thank you has the power to ground us in a shared moment, strengthening the bonds that sustain us. However, cultivating presence through gratitude is not without its challenges. Distractions will always exist, and our minds will wander. The key is to start small. Begin with 1 moment a day, pause, breathe, and notice something you might otherwise overlook. Let that moment be your anchor. It could be the taste of your morning coffee, the laughter of a loved one, or the feeling of sunlight on your skin. Write it down if you can. By capturing these moments, you train your mind to see more of them. Presence is also about letting go of perfection. Life will always have its imperfections and uncertainties. Gratitude invites us to accept the now as it is, not as we wish it to be. This acceptance doesn't mean complacency, it means acknowledging that even in chaos, there are gifts to be found. As we prepare to explore how gratitude strengthens our relationships in the next chapter, take a moment to pause. Look around. What do you see, hear, or feel right now that you can be grateful for? Let this practice draw you into the present, where life unfolds one precious moment at a time. Chapter 7. Gratitude and Relationships. Human connection is one of life's greatest gifts. Our relationships bring joy, comfort, and meaning, yet they also come with challenges, misunderstandings, conflicts, and moments of disconnection. Gratitude has the power to transform how we navigate these complexities, deepening our bonds and enriching our interactions. Imagine a garden. Each relationship is like a plant, requiring care, attention, and nourishment. Gratitude acts as sunlight and water, helping these connections grow and thrive. Without it, even the strongest relationships can wither over time. Take Anna and Mark, a couple married for 15 years. Over time, the demands of work and parenting had created distance between them. Their conversations revolved around logistics, schedules, bills, and chores, leaving little room for appreciation. Feeling disconnected, Anna suggested an experiment. Every evening, they would each share one thing they were grateful for about the other. At first, it felt awkward. "Thanks for doing the dishes," Mark offered hesitantly. But as the days turned into weeks, their gratitude deepened. "I'm grateful for how you always know the right thing to say when I'm stressed," Anna shared. "I'm grateful for your laugh. It's the best part of my day," Mark replied. Slowly, their relationship began to blossom again, nurtured by intentional moments of gratitude. The impact of gratitude on relationships is backed by science. Studies show that expressing appreciation strengthens bonds, increases trust, and fosters a sense of closeness. When we focus on what we value in others, we're less likely to dwell on their shortcomings. Gratitude shifts the narrative, allowing us to see the best in those we care about. Gratitude also helps us navigate conflict. In heated moments, it's easy to fixate on frustrations and forget the positive aspects of a relationship. But pausing to reflect on what we're thankful for, even in the middle of a disagreement, can change the tone of the conversation. It doesn't erase the issue, but it creates a foundation of goodwill, making resolution more attainable. Consider the words we use in our relationships. A simple thank you can carry immense weight. Yet, in the busyness of daily life, we often overlook the opportunity to express appreciation. We assume our loved ones already know how we feel, but unspoken gratitude can lose its power. Taking the time to articulate our thanks, whether in a heartfelt conversation, a handwritten note, or a spontaneous text, reinforces connection and shows others that they are valued. Gratitude isn't just about what we say, it's also about how we listen. When we approach interactions with an attitude of gratitude, we're more likely to be present, patient, and empathetic. We listen not to respond but to understand, fostering deeper connections and mutual respect. Even relationships, strained by distance or conflict, can benefit from gratitude. It might begin with a single thought. What do I appreciate about this person, despite our differences? Reflecting on this question can soften resentment and open the door to healing. Gratitude doesn't guarantee reconciliation, but it creates space for growth and understanding. As we close this chapter, think about the relationships in your life. Who has supported you, challenged you, or brought joy to your days? Take a moment to reflect on one person and what you appreciate about them. Consider sharing your gratitude with them. It could be the sunlight their garden needs to flourish. Chapter 8. Grace in the Ordinary. Life often unfolds in the small, unremarkable moments, the clink of a coffee mug on a quiet morning, the rhythm of footsteps on a familiar path, the way sunlight filters through a curtain. These moments might seem insignificant, yet they are brimming with grace, waiting to be noticed. Gratitude allows us to uncover this hidden beauty, helping us recognize that the extraordinary often resides in the ordinary. Grace, in its simplest form, is a gift unearned and freely given. It's the smile of a stranger, the warmth of a cozy blanket, the way laughter lingers in the air. Yet in our quest for the monumental, we often overlook these small miracles. We rush past the familiar, blind to the gifts that surround us. Consider David, a factory worker who spent his days performing repetitive tasks. For years he felt trapped, seeing his work as mundane and devoid of meaning. One day, during a break, he noticed an older colleague meticulously cleaning his tools. Curious, David asked why. The colleague replied, "These tools are my partners. They allow me to provide for my family. Keeping them clean is my way of honoring what they give me." This perspective struck David deeply. He began to see his work differently, not as drudgery but as a way to create, contribute, and care for his loved ones. Gratitude transformed his view, revealing grace in what once felt monotonous. This shift in perspective isn't just an abstract idea, it's a practice grounded in mindfulness. Gratitude pulls us into the present, helping us savor what is often taken for granted. Researchers call this savoring, the act of fully appreciating and immersing ourselves in an experience. Savoring magnifies the impact of positive moments, allowing them to linger in our minds and hearts. Even the most ordinary routines can be infused with grace. Washing dishes can become a meditation on the warmth of the water and the satisfaction of a clean plate. A morning commute can offer a chance to marvel at the changing seasons. These moments may seem small, but they accumulate, creating a life rich with meaning and appreciation. But recognizing grace in the ordinary isn't always easy, especially during difficult times. It requires intentionality, a decision to slow down and notice. This practice is beautifully illustrated in Japanese culture through the concept of wabi-sabi, which celebrates the beauty of imperfection and impermanence. A cracked vase, a weathered piece of wood, and a fleeting sunset, all are reminders of life's transient and imperfect nature. Gratitude invites us to embrace this philosophy, finding grace in the cracks and crevices of our own lives. The practice of noticing grace also strengthens our sense of connection. When we acknowledge the small gifts others bring into our lives, a kind gesture or a thoughtful word, we deepen our bonds and create a ripple effect of positivity. Grace begets grace, and gratitude amplifies it. Even in the darkest moments, grace persists. During a long illness, writer John O'Donohue described finding solace in the simple act of watching shadows play on a wall. Even the smallest thing, he wrote, has a secret connection to the great mystery. This insight reveals a profound truth: grace is always present, even when it feels obscured. Gratitude helps us uncover it. As we prepare to explore how gratitude cultivates joy in the next chapter, take a moment to reflect on the ordinary moments of your day. What have you rushed past or overlooked? What small acts of grace can you acknowledge and savor? Begin by naming one. Write it down. Let this practice guide you toward a deeper appreciation of the extraordinary within the ordinary. Chapter 9. Joy as a choice. In a world that often seems obsessed with more possessions, more success, more recognition, the pursuit of joy can feel elusive. We look for happiness in external circumstances, believing that a new job, a perfect relationship, or a life free from challenges will bring us lasting contentment. Yet, true joy is not something that can be found in the future or in possessions. It is something we choose, something we cultivate from within. Joy is a practice, not a result. It's easy to be joyful when life is going well. But joy as a choice becomes most powerful during the tough times, the moments of loss, failure, or fear. It is in these times that we have the opportunity to decide: will we let our circumstances dictate our state of being, or will we choose to find joy regardless of the challenges we face? Take the story of Rachel, a single mother working multiple jobs to support her children. Life had not been easy for Rachel. She had faced her share of heartache, financial struggles, and overwhelming stress. But despite the difficulties, Rachel found ways to choose joy every day. In the mornings before heading to work, she would pause to drink her coffee, watching the sun rise through her kitchen window. She cherished those quiet moments, knowing that no matter what the day brought, she could find peace in those few minutes. Rachel's choice to embrace joy, even in the midst of her challenges, transformed how she approached each day. She wasn't waiting for the perfect moment to be happy. She chose to be joyful in the now. This is the power of gratitude. When we practice gratitude, we are actively choosing to focus on what is good in our lives. It is easy to dwell on what we don't have, what's wrong, or what's missing. But gratitude reminds us to turn our attention to the gifts we already have: the warmth of a loved one's embrace, the simple joy of a good meal, the beauty of a sunset. By acknowledging and appreciating these blessings, we create space for joy to grow. Studies have shown that people who practice gratitude consistently report higher levels of happiness and life satisfaction. Gratitude activates the brain's reward centers, releasing dopamine and serotonin, the neurotransmitters associated with happiness and well-being. When we focus on what we are grateful for, we train our brains to seek out more of those positive experiences, creating a positive feedback loop that reinforces joy. Joy is also deeply tied to our mindset. If we approach life with the belief that happiness is a choice, we begin to see opportunities for joy even in the most ordinary moments. When we shift our mindset, we start to notice the beauty in things we might have previously overlooked. The laughter of a child, the warmth of the sun on our faces, and the sound of birds singing all become sources of joy when we choose to see them that way. Consider the practice of mindfulness, which has been shown to increase feelings of well-being and reduce stress. Mindfulness teaches us to be present in the moment, without judgment or expectation. When we practice mindfulness, we can fully experience life's small joys, without being distracted by worries about the past or future. We become more attuned to the beauty and wonder of everyday life, which allows joy to flow naturally. Of course, there will be times when joy feels distant. There will be seasons of sadness, grief, and hardship. But even in those moments, joy can be a choice. It might not come instantly, but with time we can choose to look for the small blessings that remain. Sometimes, joy is found in the simple act of breathing, in the support of a friend, or in the comforting routine of daily life. As we approach the final chapters of this book, remember that joy is not a destination. It is not something that can be found in the future. Joy is here, now, waiting for you to choose it. The practice of gratitude, the shift in mindset, the small moments of mindfulness, each of these tools can help you cultivate a life filled with joy. It starts with a choice. Choose joy today. Let it lead you to a life of peace, abundance, and deep fulfillment. Chapter 10. Gratitude in Action. Gratitude is more than a feeling or a passing thought. It is a practice, a way of living that transforms how we engage with the world. When gratitude moves from intention to action, it becomes a force that shapes our habits, deepens our relationships, and creates a ripple effect of positivity. Living out gratitude is a way of saying, I see the gifts around me, and I will honor them. The concept of putting gratitude into action has roots in cultures around the world. In many indigenous traditions, gratitude is expressed through ceremonies and daily rituals that honor the earth and its resources. These acts are not grand gestures but simple practices, like offering thanks before a meal or acknowledging the sunrise. Such rituals remind us that gratitude is meant to be embodied. It is something we do, not just something we feel. Take Peter, a small business owner who experienced a profound shift in his life when he decided to implement gratitude in his daily interactions. Struggling with declining sales and staff morale, Peter began writing handwritten notes to his employees, thanking them for their contributions. The notes were specific, highlighting each person's unique strengths and efforts. At first, Peter wasn't sure if the gesture would make a difference. But over time, he noticed something remarkable. His team became more engaged, and their interactions more collaborative. Gratitude had sparked a change, turning his workplace into a more connected and supportive environment. Peter's story illustrates a powerful truth. Gratitude in action has a multiplying effect. When we express appreciation, we inspire others to do the same, creating a cycle of kindness and recognition. This ripple effect doesn't just enhance individual relationships, it fosters a sense of community and belonging. Putting gratitude into action can take many forms. It might mean volunteering your time to support a cause you believe in, offering a sincere compliment to a stranger, or simply saying thank you more often. Small, consistent acts of gratitude can have an outsized impact, both on others and on ourselves. Studies show that practicing gratitude actively through acts of kindness or expressions of thanks boosts happiness and reduces stress. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we have, helping us approach challenges with a sense of abundance rather than scarcity. Gratitude in action also teaches us to be mindful stewards of what we've been given. For example, taking care of our environment can be an act of gratitude, choosing to recycle, conserve water, or reduce waste as a way of honoring the planet. Similarly, mentoring a younger colleague or spending quality time with loved ones reflects gratitude for the relationships that sustain us. But living out gratitude requires intentionality. It's easy to feel thankful in fleeting moments, but turning those feelings into consistent actions takes effort. Start small. Choose one way to act on your gratitude each day. Maybe it's writing a thank you note, making a donation, or simply pausing to tell someone you appreciate them. Over time, these small actions will become habits, and those habits will shape your character. As we prepare to explore how gratitude influences the lives of others in the next chapter, reflect on how you can put gratitude into action today. Who in your life needs to hear a word of thanks? What small act of kindness can you offer? Remember, gratitude is a practice, a daily opportunity to honor the gifts that surround us and to share them with others. Chapter 11. The Ripple Effect. Gratitude is not a solitary act. When we express appreciation, it reaches beyond ourselves, touching the lives of others and creating a ripple effect that can transform entire communities. Gratitude has a way of spreading, inspiring kindness, connection, and positive change in ways we might never anticipate. Imagine tossing a pebble into a still pond. The ripples extend outward, growing larger as they spread, until they touch every part of the surface. Gratitude operates in much the same way. One act of appreciation, a thank you note, a kind word, or a gesture of thanks, can influence not only the recipient but also those around them. Take the story of Mia, a high school teacher who began her mornings by writing one note of gratitude to a colleague, student, or parent. At first she thought of it as a simple way to brighten someone's day. But what she didn't expect was how the practice would grow. The students she thanked began helping each other more readily. Colleagues who received her notes started writing their own. Over the course of the school year, her small act of gratitude became a movement, reshaping the culture of the school into one of mutual support and appreciation. Mia's story reflects a profound truth: gratitude fosters connection. When we acknowledge the contributions and kindness of others, we strengthen bonds and create a foundation of trust. This is especially evident in teams and organizations. Research by the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley shows that workplaces where gratitude is regularly expressed see higher employee engagement, improved collaboration, and lower turnover rates. People feel valued and are more motivated to extend kindness to others. The ripple effect of gratitude also has a measurable impact on communities. A study conducted in neighborhoods with high crime rates revealed that community initiatives emphasizing gratitude and positive reinforcement significantly reduced tensions and fostered a sense of safety. Acts of gratitude, whether through public recognition, volunteering, or simply saying thank you, help create environments where people feel seen and valued. On a more personal level, the ripple effect begins within families and friendships. When parents model gratitude for their children, they pass on a mindset of appreciation that can shape how future generations approach life. In friendships, expressing gratitude deepens connections and reminds us of the value of mutual support. Gratitude even ripples outward to strangers. Think of the impact of small acts: paying for someone's coffee, holding the door open, or offering a genuine smile. These gestures may seem insignificant, but they can set off a chain reaction. The person who receives kindness is more likely to pass it on, creating a web of positive energy that extends far beyond the initial moment. Even in global contexts, gratitude can inspire movements of change. Philanthropists who are driven by gratitude for their own opportunities often fund projects that uplift entire communities. Leaders who express appreciation for their teams foster environments of innovation and growth. In these ways, gratitude doesn't just transform individuals, it transforms systems. However, the ripple effect of gratitude isn't automatic. It requires consistency and authenticity. People recognize when appreciation is genuine and when it's forced. To create lasting ripples, our gratitude must come from a place of sincerity and mindfulness. This means not just saying thank you as a formality, but truly seeing and valuing others. As we close this chapter, reflect on the ripples you've created, or could create with your own gratitude. Who in your life has made a difference, no matter how small? How can you acknowledge their impact and inspire them to pass that gratitude on? Start with one person, one action, one gesture of thanks. Like a pebble in a pond, your gratitude has the power to touch countless lives. Chapter 12. 1,000 Gifts. Gratitude is a journey, not a destination. It begins with a single step, a moment of noticing, a word of thanks, a recognition of grace, and grows into a way of being. When gratitude becomes the foundation of how we live, it transforms not only our perspective but also our actions, our relationships, and the legacy we leave behind. To live a life of gratitude is to live fully, deeply, and intentionally. Imagine your life as a blank canvas. Each act of gratitude is a brushstroke, adding color, texture, and depth. Over time, the canvas fills with a masterpiece, your unique story of joy, resilience, and connection. The practice of counting 1,000 gifts isn't about reaching a numerical goal, it's about creating a life rich with meaning, where every moment matters. Take the story of Sarah, a widow who found herself overwhelmed with grief and loneliness after the loss of her husband. Struggling to find purpose, she began a simple practice inspired by a friend, writing down one thing she was grateful for each day. At first, her entries were sparse and hesitant. The kindness of the cashier at the grocery store, she wrote one day. The way the sunlight warmed my face, she noted the next. But as the days turned into weeks, her list grew. Sarah began noticing beauty in unexpected places, the resilience of flowers pushing through cracks in the pavement, the steady rhythm of her breath, the memories of love that still lingered. Gratitude didn't erase her pain, but it gave her the strength to carry it. Her list eventually exceeded 1,000 gifts, each a reminder that life, even in its brokenness, is abundant. Sarah's story reflects a profound truth. Gratitude rewires us to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. It invites us to celebrate not just the milestones but the moments in between, the ones that often go unnoticed. A child's laughter, the aroma of fresh bread, the feel of rain on our skin. Each of these is a gift waiting to be named and cherished. But living a life of gratitude requires more than occasional moments of reflection. It demands consistency and discipline. It's easy to feel grateful on good days. But what about when challenges arise? What about the hard days when grace feels distant? These are the moments when gratitude becomes a choice, a radical act of hope and courage. By counting our blessings even in difficulty, we train ourselves to see life through a lens of abundance. Gratitude also compels us to give back. When we recognize how much we've been given, we feel a natural desire to share those gifts with others. This might mean mentoring someone who could benefit from your wisdom, donating time or resources to a cause, or simply showing kindness in your daily interactions. Gratitude, when lived out, becomes a cycle of giving and receiving that enriches both the giver and the receiver. As your journey with gratitude deepens, it becomes a way of grounding yourself in the present. Gratitude anchors us to the now, reminding us that life is not just something we endure but something we experience, cherish, and create. It teaches us to let go of what we cannot control and to find peace in what is. The practice of counting 1,000 gifts is not about perfection but intention. There will be days when gratitude feels natural and days when it feels like a struggle. Both are part of the journey. What matters is the commitment to begin again, to keep noticing, naming, and celebrating. As we close this final chapter, consider your own canvas of gratitude. What colors have you added? What gifts have you counted? And what gifts remain unnamed, waiting for you to discover them? Start where you are. Begin with one gift, then another. Let each act of gratitude lead to the next, until your life becomes a masterpiece of thankfulness. The journey doesn't end here, it begins anew with every moment. Gratitude is not just something we do, it's who we become. May you live a life of gratitude, filled with wonder, grace, and the joy of 1,000 gifts. Take care and be well.